So, very good evening to one and all present here. So, I hope I'm audible and visible to all of you. Okay, right. Thank you so much. So, right now we are going to start officially as we know that we are gathered here in order to celebrate World Space Week. So let me share my screen and please I request all the viewers so ensure that whether my screen is visible or not, just ensure me about that. I hope that's visible. So without much delay, let me share my screen with you all. All right, just a second. Am I visible and audible? Okay, just hold on. So just some issues happened from my side. Okay, so as you can see my slide that today's talk is about the opportunities in aerospace sector in India and abroad. So as you know that to begin with it, so we have to have a right skill. So right skill is very important, and as we know, to be an or to work on aerospace sectors, you can be an aeronautical engineer, you can be an aerospace engineer, you can be any engineer from any discipline. So today our main focus is that how actually you can create your areas or the scopes open, especially to work in this field of aerospace or any companies in aerospace sectors, especially it can be either in India or abroad, right? So sorry for that. I am unable to switch my screen. Just a second. Let me stop sharing and reshare the screen once again with you all. Just a second. Yeah. I hope now my screen is visible to all. All right. Okay. So without much delay, as we have started that what is our main agenda of this? Now, to work on any sector, our main challenge is to focus on this five areas, right? So nowadays, as you can understand that all of you know the technical skills is important, analytical skills is also important, communication skill is important, problem solving skill. Being an engineer or engineering sector, if you're working on this particular sectors, please keep in mind that you have the capability of problem solving. That means which has to have a critical thinking and innovation. You should have this skill. This is nowadays playing a very vital role to get a job not only in the field of aerospace but also in any sector that you work on. And the last one that you have seen here that we have mentioned here, that is a networking skill. So irrespective of whether you want to do an higher studies or want to do a business or want to do get a job in any particular domain, you should have built your own networks. This is a very important. Imagine you want to be a pilot, so make sure of that you have some connections, that you have developed some connections with the limit of the pilots or some similar kind of work role, because the person who are already in build with those region, they know the challenges, they know the problems, they know the loopholes, so they can guide you and mentor you throughout the process. So these are the key things that today's talk I'm going to highlight you. I'm going to tell you the areas and the sectors very clearly, that where and how you're going to focus it. Now in this talk I'm going to focus on the technical skills, problem solving skills, and the analytical skills, that how you can open a door, especially you can get a job in aerospace sectors, especially in Indian abroad. What are the different type of certification programs where you can get it, if you're planning for higher studies, and why you should go. First of all, you should have a plan, you should have a vision for it. So all the career pathways and the challenges that we are going to discuss in this entire session. So now, as we know, as let's start that who I am and what is my background is about. So it's kind of generic introduction. The people who really don't know me, my good name is Aishwarya Dara. I'm currently pursuing PhD in aerospace engineering, and also I'm the program coordinator and assistant professor in GNA University, Punjab, and also a founder of InnovaWorld Private Limited, founder and CEO of Skyfi Tech, and also I've been an author of aircraft design guidebook for freshmen, and essence of aerospace engineering, where both these books has been published in the year 2019. Right, so without much delay, let's come to the today's agenda. That there are certain questions, because the people who are already pursuing this aerospace, so they have these keen questions in their mind. So whether they, they are quite confused that whether they have whatever the career they have chosen, it's a right or wrong, whether they have followed the rightly or not. So the profile is highly paid, how much salary they will get it, so higher studies, should I go for higher studies or not, and should I start my own company. There are a lot of confusions, especially when it comes to aerospace and aeronautical. So people do have this kind of a mindset when they are into this process. Now, before starting, as today's agenda is that opportunities in aerospace sectors in India and abroad, so let I request all our the viewers and the participants to write in the chat box that some of the few aerospace companies that are actually available in India. So it is not mandatory that they has to have from India, that this sector, or for example, if I say Boeing, so Boeing actually developed in US, but actually also available in India as well. So likewise, you can say few aerospace companies which are already been established in India. So quickly, please, I request all our viewers, so kindly poll it. Okay, now, so what are our today's agenda is that, as you can see, what you can do after completion of your BTech, because many of you has a very big confusions that what to do next, whether to do higher studies, whether to do, if you want to do higher studies, you have a lot of confusions, that whether you should go for MTech, ME, or you should go for MS, or even MBA. So it's a huge confusions. Or you might think that, okay, let me just start a new business, or let me go to corporate sector. So you are quite confused. So today in this agenda, I'm here to clarify you that how you can overcome this confusions, the what to do next. Then career openings after engineering, I'm going to tell you that what are the openings that are globally available in India and abroad, and what are the ways that you can apply, what are the key skills or challenges that you must overcome, so it will be easy for you to adapt or to apply for certain zones, and what are the visions that actually upcoming, because if you are currently pursuing or already completed aeronautical or aerospace or any other relevant engineering domain, you must if you want to work on this particular sector, what are the challenges that you must face, and if you are clear with the vision, it will be very easy for you to apply for it. So as I have said, that what's next, that means whether you're planning for job, studies, or you should have your own startup. So a huge lot of confusions. So before getting started, now you tell me that what you are planning for your career. So are you planning for your higher studies or starting a new business? So I'm eagerly waiting to see in the chat box that what you are actually looking for. All right, now skipping to the next. Now, here to answer for all this, now I'm going to, in this entire session, I'm going to tell you the three main keys that will actually open the gateway of your career. So, if you are clear with this objective, the gateways, then your this concept will be your gateway will be quite clear, and you can it will be easy for you to follow the path. Right. So the first, what are the three keys? And I'm going to answer for your all these questions. So for the first one is that which of the following subjects or the topic is interesting or having proficient knowledge? Because when it comes to any engineering field, the people mostly get confused. Okay, I love this subject, I have this knowledge, but to get a proper sector or a proper domain, you must be proficient on something. That means you must be expertise on something. So that is, make sure of that. So this is the area where most of the student get wrong. They don't get their platform, that the area they can't able to choose it which is a right area for them, okay, or the suitable area. I'm going to clarify these things. Then next one is that what you want to become or what you're dreaming about. So many of you might be thinking, I want to be a pilot. Many of you might think, I want to be a design engineer. Many of you might be thinking, I want to be a data analyst. I want to be a data scientist. So you might have a different perspective of your own career. You have you have got into engineering on different perspective. So what you're dreaming for, maybe you are expertise in machine learning and AI, and you're opting a job for the data science, so that both the career is completely apart. So if you're aiming such wise, so you should ensure whether your knowledge and what you're aiming, whether they are mapping with your concept or not. The last one, that are you up to date with the your specialization? Now as we are talking about now, we are talking about engineering sectors. Now engineering, we have different variants of engineering. We have a computer science, we have a mechanical engineering, we have electrical engineering, we have other civil engineering, and the most specialized domain we have is that aerospace. Aerospace is no combination of all this core that we have discussed. It also compiles with computer science. It also deals with mechanical engineering, deals with your civil engineering, structures, and other more domains, electrical domains as well. So the area or the sector, as I have taken an example, you wanted to be a AI engineer, or you want to be expertise yourself in machine learning in something, right? So are you aware of that, that whether this knowledge is whether what is the current trend is happening? Are you up to date with your knowledge or not? Whether to work on the machine learning, whether you have those concept or not, whether you need any programming language, do you have that knowledge? Are you proficient on those coding or not? So make sure of this. So now I'm going to give a detailing about these three key areas, right? Now, when it comes to, as we are talking about aerospace, right? So nowadays, it's all like, proficiency. To which subject you are proficient. You can be proficient in one subject, but you have to know all the subjects, because to work on this aerodynamics, if I talk the word about aerodynamics, so you can't, because the parameter you're working on the aerodynamics, It deals with the, it has a connectivity with the other parameters as well. Now if I will let us start from the last one. I have written AI and ML. So, what is the full form of AI? AI is an artificial intelligence and ML is a machine learning. So, if you want to be an expertise, so nowadays that all the aircraft or the rockets, any flying vehicle are going to adopt this AI and ML. But now let's look into the other perspective. If I have to work on this AI and ML, this is basically a subject which deals by the computer science people. But you are a design people, you are working on to this, so you can combine that knowledge. So for the AI and ML, whatever the suitable proficiency knowledge, you should adapt it. Then comes space technology. Then we have aviation management. We have control systems, flight mechanics, manufacturing. So each domain, we need to get specialized in different softwares, different upcoming of new technologies that are adapting, new instruments, new certifications, and so many things. So make sure of that in front of you have a clear picture that these are the subjects, and now from here you have to choose that which subjects you are proficient at. So make sure of that the subject that you're picking, you know A to Z of that subjects. So that will be giving you the answer. So which subjects you are proficient at. Because this is the area or the sector where most of the student get lacked in this. They don't know which subject or they are specialized at. Moving to the next, that what you want to become or what you're dreaming about. So as I have said that many people think, okay, I want to earn money, I want to earn this, I want to see myself dream. So Abdul Kalam has said a word, if you just sit in your place and dream, your dream is never going to come true. So for that, what you have to do, you have to gain the skills, we have to adapt the relevant knowledge, and then you have to execute those things. Then only your dream will come true. So we have in this aerospace sectors, we have various types of domains, and it's a very wide sector. So you can see yourself as a technical writer, technicians, design engineer, analyst, production manager. Even in fact, you can be a very good coder, aviation officer, flight operator engineers, pilot or UAV engineer. In fact, then researcher, scientist, professors. You can also be an entrepreneur. And the biggest example that I can give is an Elon Musk. Then there are other sectors that we have in the defense sectors, we have aviation sectors where you have a specialized job called airworthiness officer. We have you can also be there are other security officers. We have a planning and logistics sectors. Then if you are dreaming, you want to be an astronaut, you want to be an space engineers, there are a lot more that you can dream about. But the key point here is that make sure that you have the key proficient, and make sure of that what you are aiming, because until you will dream, you can't succeed, you can't you will unable to identify the right goal or the path that you must follow for it. Now the first two questions, the answer lies here. Are you up to date with your specialization? So, whatever might be the area that you are specialized, whatever might be the thing that you want to become or what are you dreaming about, but you can't succeed until you are well updated with the current scenario, and also you're well updated with the what is coming visions and missions that across the globe that they are working on. They are working on towards a sustainable goal to make in not only to make India, to make the global scenario in a better ecosystem, to make to live a better life. So make sure of that, whatever might be the work that you are dreaming, whatever might be the specialization that you have, you must follow the six prime areas that it has been highlighted over here. And this is the answer. If you're not well up to date with your specializations or the areas, you can't get into any sector. Especially these are the things are quite specialized in the aerospace sectors, whether you're computer science or mechanical or aerospace or electrical, whatever might be the domains. So you ensure of that you have the six steps of your specializations that you're well updated with your concept, right? So what are these six things? First is the applications. So if you are specialized in certain area, ensure that you are well aware of where this principle or this theorem is going to be implemented. The second one we have is an advanced research. So whatever the field you are working on, so you're well versed about this advanced research and what is the current trends that is going on. The third is a quite relevant with the second one is an ongoing projects. So currently there are different government sectors and private sectors. They are working on different projects, so you must be well versed on those projects. What are the projects they are going on, right? Then we have the essentials. Now, what do you mean by essentials? Whether you need any what are your eligibility criterias, whether you need to have a PhD degree, whether you need to have master's degree, whether you need to do any certifications or any experience. These are the fourth one comes under the eligibility criterias. The fifth one comes about the license or any sort of relevant certification. Now let's take it in this perspective. You are an aerospace engineer. You want to be specialized in a design. All right. Now, uh, and just look into the Boeing website. Okay. So if you go to the Boeing website or the same job role as a design engineer, you will get to see that you will have that you need to have this experience, that experience. You must be proficient on this area. You should have a knowledge on, in fact, the coding and so many other factors. So based on the job role, there are certain companies who are looking for certain certifications, certain documentation, certain proof, certain licensing, and so many other things. So make sure of that when you're going to that specialization, you have those criterias fulfilled. The last one we have the job roles and the skills. So of course, if you're going to that particular so let's take an example that you want to be a pilot, right? And you have a certificates and all those things, right? So if you don't have the right skill to control the flight, so can you get into those job? Of course, no. Nobody's going to give you that. So ensure that whatever might be the job that you are applying, make sure of that you are quite confident about those areas. You are following those job roles and the skills. All right. So before proceeding further, so here is a question for you. Which aero industry pay the highest salary package in India? So let me see the answers that you can give these answers or not. So I'm awaiting for it. So meanwhile, if you have any questions, so you can simultaneously drop it. So we will take it down side by side once I complete this overview of this the future plans or how you can get in this aerospace sectors, right? All right. So I'm looking for this. Now, so let's go deep dive into this sector, that what is the aerospace and what are the openings, what are the core elements of aerospace, as and why I have mentioned that aerospace is not only for only those who are undergoing aerospace, but also it's for mechanical, it's for computer science, it's for other domain as well. So here is that answer lies here. So yeah, I hope my print this marker is visible to all. Okay, so now the first thing that I'm going to explain is about the design. Now, if you want to be specialized on this design sectors, you see the key elements that you have to keep in mind. So the first and foremost is that engineering mechanics, that how this mechanics actually works, right? So then comes the component design. So whatever, whether it's a piston engine, whether it's a your wing component. So how, what are the other factors that are really involved inside this system? Or within this, we have a specialized thing is that engine design. So how, if you want to design an engine, especially EV engines, so nowadays it's a one of the trending thing, or there are huge opportunities that currently we have. So make sure of that the sectors that you're going to involve, you have a certain areas that is you are clear about it. Then moving to this aerodynamics. So aerodynamics is a concept where we deals with that all those certain elements. One is that you know how to operate wind tunnel. So because any, whether it's you're working on the industrial sectors, like you're working on building aerodynamics, you're working on the car aerodynamics or whatever it is. So make sure of that you must able or you're capable enough to operate a wind tunnel. Then the CFD. What is CFD? CFD is a computational fluid dynamics. So if you want to make yourself specialized in this sector, that is aerodynamics, make sure of that you are quite you are quite confident about this CFD modules, CFD boundary layers, and other factors. Then comes to propulsion. Then we have a propulsion. Now, what this propulsion deals with? The propulsion deals with a different flying vehicles engines, whether it's an ground vehicle engine or any flying vehicles. So each engines have its own component, that is the inlet, turbo machineries. Then we have a diffusers, we have a rocket technologies, and heat transfer and mass transfer. So make sure of that these are the elements that you are clear with that. If you want to be specialized in the structures, so make sure of that you have a quite a good knowledge on strength of the material, aircraft structures, aerospace materials, aeroelasticity, and the vibrations. So these are the key elements. And let me tell you, in India, structures around if I count the number of companies, and among that, and 90% of the jobs are provided by the structure companies, and majorly in India we work on the structural basis. So if you're really planning to stick to in India and work on those areas, so make sure of that if you're planning for your interview questions as well, so make sure of that you have a clear knowledge on this particular areas. All right. Now coming this design and structures, that these are the two main areas that where majority of the jobs are available, especially in India. Now if I have to clarify you what about this in abroad, so yes, abroad we have a huge scopes on aerodynamics and propulsions, because the biggest challenge, if you ask, in India is at workstation. And to work on both this aerodynamics and propulsion, we need to have a workstation and where we are running and parallel computations of CFD. So that is a lagging, and we have in ISRO, DRDO, and certain good institutes, we have it, but still we are still yet to develop it. Next we have a manufacturing. Next we have is a manufacturing sector. Yes, the manufacturing sectors, what are the areas that you need to focus on? Welding technology, production, and composite. As you know that previously the aircrafts, when we are designing or building it, we used to use our lightweight structures, and we never used to give much of the specialized that how important it is. But nowadays we are giving more focus on the composite material or the composite structures that you need to focus on. Then control systems, yes. So one of the biggest job scope that we have in India or in abroad is that a system engineer. And to get on those job post, you make sure of that you must be having a clarity about avionic systems, instrumentations, flight control testing. These are the main areas where you must be skillful to grab that job as an system engineer. All right. So as a fresher, so you can still get in a system engineer jobs where a basic pay will be around 5 to 6 lakhs per annum. So as a fresher without experience, right? Next, let's focus on the other sectors as well. We have other sectors where we have an aviation management, where you can, if you're dreaming to work on this airports and other sectors. So this is one of the key area that already I've discussed, that air transportation, airlines management, planning and logistic, and flight operator. Now, how you can get into this aviation management? In India, we have airport authority of India website. So if you go there and go to the career page, you can see there are several jobs that are listed down, and you can see their job roles clearly, that what are the jobs roles they're looking for. If not, you can have another options, go to each different airlines. So there are Indigos, there are Air India, we have Emirates as well. So they gave a very handsome amount for the aerospace engineers if you want to go in this aviation management. Yes, of course, you for this areas you must need to have a certification that I'm going to discuss in the upcoming sessions. In the upcoming few slides, I'll be discussing that what are the things that you require for to get into this aviation management. And I will also discuss, if you are really specialized to work on the manufacturing sector, what are the certifications that are required. And especially now going back to this space technologies, yes, so space technology is very very sensitive areas that mostly ISRO, there are different branches that we have in India. ISRO different branches in India. So people they are working on this. So basically, to get into it, you should be very good in the R&D. That is a research and development, and you must have supporting projects relevant to it. So then this thing's going to be easy when you get into the ISRO. So nowadays you might be also aware of that the ISRO nowadays opening up the internships. So there are applications that are open out in SAC also, it's open. So if you're really interested to work on the space technology, irrespective of whatever is your domain, whether it's aerospace or mechanical or CSC or electrical. So you can also get into this aerospace sectors like satellite engineering. We have a hypersonic flight controls and orbit mechanics. There's so more things are there. Right. Now, here I'm going to give you some basic examples that what this applications, if as I have said that in India, we have 90% of the jobs are from aerospace. So how you can develop yourself, or how you can build yourself. So today I'm here to give you a sample explanation that, for an example, application part of in structures. Now you are designing a wing of an any aircraft, right? Now you should be able to identify that which type of structures you should be adapted to. So in front of you, we have four variants of structures that we have. One is an multi-rib wing. We have a multi-spar. We have a single spar and tubular spar. So we have a different variants. So to have this understanding, the which kind of wing structure is going to be suitable for that particular design. So you must be well aware of this thing. That's a small example. So likewise, we have a design also. You can have a look into it. So this is an example of UAV. So high altitude, long endurance, hydrogen power. So it's a very good sustainable flight. So there are different startups in India and also in abroad. So as you can see, they have developed this unique designs, right? So they have worked on basis of contractual basis. So there are other companies out there in India as well as abroad, so who give, if where you can get to work, basis of contractual basis. So there are different sectors, especially in the design, or you can say also as in freelancing also, right? Now, here I'm going to say a brief thing about a new research, how you can adapt a new research. And so one of the biggest or the easiest way to understand to start a research is that whatever and flying vehicle concept has been erupted from the biomimicry, all that we have copied from the nature. So starting from the aircraft wing, we have copied from the bird. So understand the basic principles, understand the concepts, so the things going to be easier for you. And this is one of the very innovative research that one of the new airfoil has been developed, that many of you are might be aware of, that KFM families of airfoils. And this has been specially we can utilize this for an RC aircraft. So moving to the another new research that many of you are quite aware of, that wing morphing concept. And in upcoming aircraft you might be looking into it the same as I have discussed, that it has also been mimicred from nature. So as you can see, there are different there are different organizations that they are currently working on this morphing technologies, and this having a wide scope. And why I'm focusing on this, because in India and as well as abroad, and this is a project that currently they are working on the morphing, and they believe that the morphing can make the structures lightweight and more efficient. And not only that, nowadays they're making a smart materials. Those who want to make your career or interested, maybe chemical engineering, or those who are in the chemistry, they're working on the material sectors. You can also work on the materials, which materials will be adaptable, or you can also link up with this on electrical and mechanisms, how you can make it. So there are a lot of work that you can focus on, especially working on this morphing technology. So here not only as you can see, there's a big example that I can give, that not only an aerospace engineer, but also a mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, and computer science engineer is also equally playing a vital role on this concept to develop this morphing technology. So being an aerospace engineer or aeronautical engineer, if you are going to be specialized in particular domain in computer science or electrical, you can be a very good point for you. Now, another booming technology that we have currently is a manufacturing technology. So many of you are be aware of that composite materials. It's also being can be developed or using additive manufacturing. So they are coupling up with this composite material with the additive technology. So in India, we have only one company who is actually working on this composite material additive manufacturing. So let me give you an idea, that if you're really planning for your own startup or business idea, and you have an interest on working on this manufacturing technology, you can really start up this idea, because it's a one of the, of course it's one of the very challenging part. And yes, because as we want to create an aerospace vehicle, we need a lightweight, so it is going to be an demanding as well, right? So if you can develop this and composite material using additive manufacturing, so yes, it's going really, your company is really going to boom it in the upcoming future, right? So as you can see, in aircraft or aviations or aerospace sectors, there are different components that we actually develop it using 3D printing. Different types of 3D printing we have metal printings and all. So yes, and by the way, if you want to work on this manufacturing sector, certification is mandatory. You should have a very good authorized certification for your respective domain. And you must be well aware of that, what are the current trends that is currently happening. So coming to this essential skills, right? Now, in this, of course, eligibility is one of the very prime factor. But nowadays, the most essential part is that, as I have mentioned, all has to know everything. Now, coding, you can't ignore coding. The biggest open source that you can get is a Python. So, if you are not comfortable on Python, you can learn the alternative is a MATLAB. But if you want to, if you are interested in avionic sectors, instrumentations, flight controls, and relevant to this area, make sure of that you must be proficient in MATLAB. So MATLAB is a software where you have certain simulators, Simulink. So where you get to understand how the flight control system, the control, the feedback loops, and the mechanisms. So make sure of that, which the domain that you are going to select and the area that you are specialized going to get a specialized. So make sure of that you have the right essential skills. As I have mentioned, so nowadays if you want to go and Boeing website and just search as a design engineer, there also you will see the MATLAB or Python is essential. So make sure of that, irrespective of whatever the domain that you go, keep this thing in your mind that you should learn Python or MATLAB or the relevant. So my suggestions will be, if you ask me, that you can go either of it. All right. So moving next, we have, so what are the top skills, technical skills are on demand. So already we have focused that skills that will depends on the area or the sector that you are looking for. So if you are looking for design or structural, so make sure of that you are quite well versed on these two areas. So that is the modeling, dimensioning. You should know what is GD and T. In short, we call as a, that is geometric dimensioning and tolerancing. So you must be aware of those GD and T. You must be well aware of drafting the things, modeling, whether it's a 2D drafting or the 3D. Make sure of this. Now, when it comes to this structural analyst sort of jobs or structural engineer, so you must be aware when you're doing the analysis. So, what are the boundary conditions? What are the load factors? What is a design factor of safety, what sort of analysis that you are actually performing, whether it's a static analysis or dynamic analysis. So what sort of boundary conditions, what is a FEM, what is a so finite element method. So you must be aware of this concept about the finite element methods. So make sure of that if you are really looking your job in structural analyst, stress analyst, structural engineer, design engineer, you must adapt this. And of course, the softwares that are demanding for it. So make sure of that you are already have those skill sets. Now, moving to the aerodynamics. In India, there are very, very limited job scopes when it comes to aerodynamics. Yes, if I talk about the core aerospace sector, but yes, there are other sectors like automotive industry, like where we have Mercedes, we have Honda, and other company relevant companies where they do take that CFD specialist. If you are expertise on the CFD analysis or wind tunnel techniques, this is going to be a right choice for you. You can also get a job on this particular sectors. There is a CFD and wind tunnel techniques. So you must know how to use those equipments and all those things. And coming to the next one is the another highest paid job, and you must require a top technical skills that if you want to be expertise in NDT, we call as a non-destructive test. So where people mostly need to have certifications for it. You need to have a certification the hour of maintenance, which type of technique you are specialized at. So here also you need to have a certification along with the technical skills. For this there are certain organization who do provide this entity techniques skills, so you must get it done from the respective organizations. Then the last and the most trending nowadays in all sectors is a 3D printing technologies, whether it's an ABS technology or the metal printing on other methods. So this is again where the certification play a very vital role. Right. So here this particular area I'm going to focus or focus on this, that there are certain very precise area in aviation sector where you need to have, it's a mandatory that you must have either training internships or certification or licensing for those particular area. So especially if you want to be in air transportation, so any airport if you go, so they need to have a certifications, they have a different job roles, so you need to have certifications for those things. Then we have airlines management. Each airlines they have a different post opening for this. So for that you must have an MBA in airlines management. There is a separate master's program, so you must have those things. Planning and logistic, any graduates can opt for it, so there is no specific, but yes they do prefer BScs, but BSc students or BSc in aviations, or we have BBA or in aviation. There are other sectors as well, they give preference, but there are a lot of engineering sectors they do go into planning and logistic, also go in flight operators and airworthiness officer. So these are the last three domains, need to have a certifications for that. So as I have mentioned that there are certain areas, there are certain organizations, they do provide certain reputed certification. And if you're planning for those particular areas, so make sure of that you go to those particular website or particular place where you can get a certificate from those particular areas, right? So as I have mentioned, that if you want to get specialized in NDTA, sorry, NDT, so you must focus on those this NDT institutes who do provide a specialized version of those. And of course they do charges, these are not free, they are based on the month or some certain time period, they do charge certain amounts. Then we have a certifications of 3D printing. There are authentic areas, that is a CAD centers, or options are there. Instead of CAD center you can also go for any NITTR centers in India. So they do provide 3D printing certification programs. There another, so those who want to be specialized in material sciences, as I've already mentioned, when you if you want to work on this morphing technology of an flight, so you have to work on the material science. So if you have to be specialized on those areas, so make sure of that you need to have a microscope, so we understand the material property quite in deep. So there are one type of scanning electroscope microscope, electron microscope, sorry. So there are certain organizations where you can take certifications from those areas. So as already we have discussed in India, like there are n number of job roles that you can get. Design engineers, we have a structural analyst, we have, and each of those programs followed by certain technical skills and non-technical skills. Now where the problem comes is that maybe you sometimes are very good in the technical skills, you have done great, but many of the times you don't give much effort when it comes to a non-technical skills. But make sure of that, nowadays, apart from that technical skills, you should pay a equal focus on the non-technical skill, especially communication skill, networking skill, and a numerical skills, right, or interpersonal skills. So make sure of that irrespective of whatever is your career profile or whatever is so, right. So right. So one of the very prime career profile that I would like to share with you today here is that junior research fellow. Now, as many of you might be aware of that, design engineering, structural analyst, and technical author, but many of you might not be aware of the junior research fellow. Now, who in this particular thing, I would like to clarify you who should opt for this particular job role and why. So first of all, if you prospect your career as a scientist or a researcher, so make sure of that at the initial level of your career, you should pursue as a junior research fellow. If you want to indulge your career as a scientist or a researcher, so make sure of that the first baby step that you have to take as a junior research fellow. Now, to be in a junior research fellow, what are the criterias and from who are the companies that who offer it, right? So first of all, to get into a junior research fellow, mostly IITs, NITs, BITs, this kind of relevant institutes, they do give an openings as a junior research fellow. Now how you can get into it? So to get into it, you must have a gate score. Okay, that's a prime way to shortlist it, or that is a eligibility criteria. So once you crack through those areas, then your technical skills will prove your positions, and then comes your non-technical skills. And technical and non-technical will give that which sectors that you want to go, like whether it's an avionics, aerodynamics, or structures, and so on, right. So after you work on that junior research fellow, you can get promoted to a senior research fellow. You have to do masters, then PhD, or postdoctorate to be a scientist positions, or you must be into any organizations. So you must be carried out at least 10 years of research work to get a scientist positions. So this is just a baby step when you move to as a researcher. Now as I have said, the master's programs, so if you are really indulged that okay, I want to do a master's, if your current state, no, I want to do a master's or MBA. Why you should go for master's? First think about it. Is it that you're not getting job, or really you will get a better salary? So before, I have seen many students that they are blindly jumping into it a masters. So don't take that drastic decisions when it comes to a higher studies. So make sure of that what is our main objective, because there are certain job scopes where you don't require a master's program, right? So make sure of that. And yes, if you want to go masters or MBA or MS or higher studies in India or abroad, there are different scholarship programs that you can avail it. Okay, so one of the biggest program we have is a DAD program, that then PM scholarship, PM India scholarship program we have. Then just go to a website called dst.gov.in. So there you can find with different schemes of scholarship that provided on basis of different country. We have Indonesia's, we have different country, we have a tie-up, we have with the Australia, we have with the US. So you can go using your scholarship, right? So if you're planning for your MS and how to choose the correct course, so there are different QS ranking provided in the QS ranking website as well. So you can see which domain, right? Suppose you are BTech or BE aeronautical or aerospace. So of course I will never suggest you to do a MS or MTech aerospace engineering. So go into a specialized one if you are interested in astronomy. So go in MS in astronomy. See what are the universities they're offering you. Or if you want to study more about the celestial bodies, you can go for quantum engineering. Go move into a specialized one. If you're interested in design, go MS engineering design. So please do have a clear vision. So if you want to be specialized in vehicle design and that also aerospace vehicle design, so MIT provides and as you can see the QS ranking is one across the globe. So choose the relevant and there are different countries have a different, so it's not like every time you have to write a TOEFL or IELTS exam. So each university is having different phenomena, different policies. So based on the policies, you can refer and you can adapt according to it. So then we have, as you can see, these are the basic things that you can get. And this is what a basic outline that I have given. If you are specialized in aerospace or if you really want to work on aerospace sectors, this is the opening for you. These are the primary career options and the secondary career options, and there are different companies where you can get into it. And in India, there are a lot of startups. They are really paying good, handsome amount to the employees. And there are other sectors where you can also get into it. But yes, based on your interest and make sure of that whether you have the right skill for those particular areas or not, right? So if you have a plan for your own startup or starting your own company, so there are other plans and all other sectors. There are a lot of companies out there. So here are the top Indian companies if you're really not aware of it. So these are the companies that you have here is that as you can see here, right? I hope it is visible. Right. So as you can see here, the top aerospace companies in India. So, uh, and this is not a limited one. There are a lot more are there where you can apply. But make sure of that you have the right skill sets. And there are other private companies as well, right? So if you're not aware, I will request all our viewers to please take down those things. There are other international level companies are there. So one of them you might be aware of that. One is Boeing, Airbus. We have Bell Helicopters, Lockheed Martin, and we have next gen. We have, right. So, as a result, what you have to be to get or achieve your dream job is to think positive, stay focused what you want to be, and be committed to yourself that yes, I need a job scope and these are the skills. So please ensure of yourself that okay, I have those skill sets or not. And yes, of course, nothing is free in this world. You have to work hard for it and keep on reviewing yourself. Okay, are you well updated with your things or not to achieve the goal? Hashtag goals. So hope you have enjoyed these sessions. And if you have, I'm open to the questions right now. If you have any further questions, so I'm open to it. So, yes. So, if you have any questions, yes. Mm. Sorry, can you repeat, sir? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So, you're asking about the areas that they must be focused on, right? So, as I have mentioned in during my case study and the research that I have done, especially in India, so this is a structure is the area. Okay. So we have a lot of scopes across the different domain. But if I talk about aerospace sectors, so structures and design are having the 90% of jobs are from the design and the structures domain. So yes, and mean there is a myth that people think that we don't get a job, we are aerospace and all, nothing like that. If you have the right skill set, you will definitely get job, but make sure of that you are clear with this particular areas or the subjects that you. So I will say, so if you are really planning to do a job and if you have a slight inclination towards structures, so do focus on the structures because 90% of the jobs that are available are from the structures or the design sectors. Yeah. I hope I have make it clear. Yeah. Well, see, it's a very good question, I will say, because upcoming trend, if I see across the globe, already been started 25 years back, and now it has been starting in India. That upcoming, it's everything going to be a privatized. So, if you're planning from now onwards that starting your own business, a very good idea, and looking into the futuristic perspective or future perspective is that everything is going to be a multidisciplinary. Okay, so I hope all of you might have seen Despicable Me 1. So where there was a story that all the flying vehicles are flying in the air, no vehicles are on the ground. So the future is going to be something like that. So the future is going to be like the air traffic is going to be huge as compared with the ground traffic. So as you can see, the huge number of flying vehicles are going to adapt in the coming generations. So plan, have a vision that what is the future, and start your business according to it. So what is going to be a booming in the coming year, so that is going to be a very good scope for that. Or else you can see what is, you can't start a business which is currently happening, because today we have it, tomorrow it may not have, because tomorrow a new technology will come up and the things are going to be over. So make sure of that certain things, at least it will run for 50 years. So think in that perspective, and see your areas of interest, of course. So accordingly you can start it. I hope I have made it clear. Okay, so you are asking about what are the funding opportunities that we have in India and abroad, right? especially in India, right? For the startups, what are the funding, right? So, yes. So here again, there are so many funding. So now, when you want to start a business, let's split that into two forms. I think we can stop sharing the screen and we can discuss that. Just a second. Right. Okay. So when it comes to a funding, so the funding can be of two ways. One is whether it's an MSME or a startup. So to have a startup, we have a proper rules of a startup that were the documentations for the startup. So for MSME, we have a different documentation. So make sure of that you have the documentations properly, because the majority of the problem that comes that they don't have a proper documentations. Right. The first thing, make sure of that you have a proper documentation. Now talking about the funding, there are different types of funding when it comes to MSME or startup. So for MSME, if the founder or the co-founders are especially a woman, there are huge lot of opportunities. There are different subsidiary schemes that for especially for the women founder and the co-founder, if there are women's, so there are a lot of subsidiaries available, so that is not a problem. Then angel fundings are there. So there are different organizations, they are named as the angel funds, so they also do provide. And of course, make sure of that when you're starting a business, you have some novelty in it. Let's take an example. In market, if I have to see, there are so many body lotions are available, right? So it is up to you which body lotions that you want to purchase, right? And take an example. I don't want to name any particular company, so just understanding that way. So each one of that people who are actually selling body lotions have their own strategy, they have their own innovations, they are bringing up certain solutions, they're each one of it. So if you whatever you are starting, whatever the business that you are starting, ensure of that you have your certain policies, certain standards, you're maintaining your reputation of your company. So I think then of course any company will have it. And nowadays one of the biggest thing is that start building networking, so people will get to know your company by that itself. So displaying your products, make it a brand of it, so that will make sure of that you get a right fund and your right scope for your business to boom it. I think I have clarified this question as well. Hmm. All right. So, especially when it comes to structures, first of all, it if they want to in structures, there are different sort of job roles. We have a design engineer, we have a structural engineer, we have a stress engineer, we have a structural analyst, and so more goes on as they be more experienced, so gradually they get step by step, right? They also become a lead engineer as well. So here the main challenge is that what which area they are specialized, so whether they are going to work on the material part or the material domain, or they are going to analyze it, or whether they are going to design the model or the make the structural layout. So there are different parts. So when it comes to design, make sure of that they are well aware of CATIA software. We have a SolidWorks, so which helps them to make the basic layout. And if anyone, if you're really interested on structural domain, I will tell you a simple example. Go to the Boeing website. They have mentioned that even it is a design engineer job role, they have also given the MATLAB is also mandatory. So irrespective of that, nowadays every softwares are now getting integrated with one another. In fact, ANSYS software is getting integrated with the Python. So what I will suggest is that in the looking into the current scenario is that irrespective of whatever the domain you are going for, Python, MATLAB, SolidWorks, CATIA, ANSYS. This 5 key softwares is going to be open is going to be a key to open the door for any companies to get into it. So I will say these are the 5 core softwares as of now. Yeah, yeah. I hope I have made it clear. Okay. Okay, so I hope the session was useful for all the viewers and participants. And tomorrow we have one more session, and this we have planned for a week program. So I think this is going to be a 2 weeks program now, because next week also we are lined up with another we lined up with experts. So hoping you will get an official mail for it. So instead of 1 week, you will get a 2 week certification program, and which is going to be worth for your career as well. So irrespective of whatever the field that you are going for or adapting for. So again, thank you so much for staying with us, and hope I have clarified all your doubts. And still, if you have any more doubts, please write down a mail to us, and for tomorrow's session, so make sure of that you join in the right time. So till then, we are winding up the session over here, and don't forget to fill up the feedback form before you leave the session. So our team will be shortly sharing you the feedback form in the chat box. So before leaving the session, make sure of that do drop in the you do fill up the this feedback form, right? So thank you so much, and stay tuned to In Our World.